Chapter 11, that is external sector, watchful and hopeful. The global economy faced two global shocks in the new millennium, namely economic and health shocks. India has been able to face headwinds, that is, challenges due to strong macroeconomic fundamentals and buffers. Trade helping India reap the benefits of globalized world. Openness. The trade openness of countries across the globe have been increasing. It is measured by trade as a proportion of GDP. India's share, the share of India's trade as a percentage of world GDP has been steadily increasing, being above 40% since 2005, except 2020 being the pandemic year. The ratio stands at 46% in 2021 and 50% for first half of 2022. Global scenario, the trade prospect. Post COVID 19 induced disruptions, global trade prospects have improved in FY22. Global outlook, the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development in UNCTAD, in its global trade update of December 2022, has also noted that the ongoing trade slowdown is expected to worsen for 2023. Bright spots in India's trade performance. Significant strides in exports were registered in drug and pharmaceuticals, electronic goods, engineering goods, and organic and inorganic chemical sector in FY22. India has also been seeing consistent growth in exports of electronic goods. Trend in the mechanized merchandise trade. Now, India achieved an all-time high of annual merchandise export of $422 billion in FY22. Trade in services. India's services exports stood at $254 billion in FY22, recording a growth of 23.5% over FY21. It is seventh largest service exporter in the world. Dominant services include software and business services, together constitute more than 60% of the India's total service exports. Foreign trade policy. The focus of foreign trade policy has been to provide a framework of rules and procedures for exports and imports and a set of incentives for promoting exports. Time frame. During the pandemic period, the 5-year FTP 2015 to 2020 was extended from 2020 to 2022. The policy has been further extended till March 2023. Capacity building. The Export Preparedness Index, which is an index prepared by Niti Aayog, has also been introduced to evaluate state potential and capacities. International trade settlements in Indian rupee, rupee internationalizations. In 2022, the Reserve Bank of India issued a circular permitting an additional arrangement for invoicing, payment, and settlement of export imports in Indian rupees. It is an important step to promote INR as an international currency. It will reduce the net demand for foreign exchange, the US dollar in particular, for settlement of current account related trade flows. Dominant currency. As per the BIS Triennial Central Bank Survey 2022, the US dollar is the dominant vehicle currency, accounting for 88% of the global forex turnover. The Indian rupee accounted for 1.6%. Initiatives to enhance trade initiatives. Focus on agricultural products. Proactive support of export promotion agencies including Export Inspection Council, plantation boards, and agricultural and processed food product export development authorities, that is APIDA. Export facilitating measures like online issuance of certificates required for exports. Interest equalization scheme. This scheme was formulated to give benefit in the interest rate being charged by banks to the exporters on their pre and post shipment rupee export credits. Remission of duties and taxes on exported products, that is RODTEP scheme. It seeks remissions of central, state, and local duty, tax, and levies at different stages at the central, state, and local level. Now, Export Credit Guarantee. The Export Credit Guarantee Corporation supports Indian exports and banks by providing export credit issuance services. Krishi Udan Yojana, launched in August 2020 on international and national routes to assist farmers in transporting agricultural products so that it improves their value realizations. Trade for Export Scheme. The scheme provides financial assistance in form of grant and aid to central and state governments owned agencies for setting up or for upgradation of export infrastructure as per the guidelines of the scheme. districts as export hubs. Now, India's global trade engagement. India has so far concluded 13 FTAs and 6 preferential trade agreements. In the year FY 2022, India signed the Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement and Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement with Australia and UAE, respectively. India diversified its market and increased its export to Brazil, South Africa, and Saudi Arabia. Balance of payments in challenging times. Current account balance for the period of April to September 2022, that is first half of FY23, India recorded a current account deficit of 3.3% of the GDP. This is on the back of an increase in the merchandise trade deficit as compared with the 0.2% in first half of FY22. India's CAD is modest and within manageable limits. Regarding invisibles, net services receipts have increased primarily on the account of robust computer and business service receipts. Net services exports and net private transfers, mainly remittances, contributed to the surplus on invisible account, which cushioned the merchandise trade deficit. Now, capital account balance, FDI and FPI is the largest component of the capital account. External commercial borrowings to India recorded net outflow in first half of FY23 as against net inflows a year ago. So this will be the net foreign direct investment. We see that quarter 2 of FY 2020 was the highest in terms of net FDI, and after it has been a varying trend, like ups and downs. We see that quarter 1 and 2 were high for FY 21-22, and we have 2 quarter data for FY 22 and 23, not very relevant. We just know that it has been increasing, and it was highest in the year of 2020 second quarter. Moving on, balance of payment and foreign exchange reserves. The reserve augmented to $562.7 billion as of December 2022, covering 9.3 months of imports. As of November 2022, India was the 6th largest foreign exchange reserve holder in the world, according to IMF data. Now, exchange rates, RBI's active role. The exchange rate of Indian rupee is market determined, as the RBI's intervention in the foreign exchange market is mainly to contain instances of excessive volatility. Depreciation. In 2022, the INR has depreciated by 10.8%, whereas US dollars has appreciated by 6.4%. The nominal effective exchange rate of India depreciated by 4.8% in 2022. International investment position. It is a statistical statement that shows at a point in time the value and composition of financial assets of residents of an economy that are claims on non-residents and on gold bullions held as reserve assets. Liabilities of residents of an economy to non-residents. External debt situation, debt to GDP ratio. Now, external debt as a ratio of GDP fell to 19.2% as of end September 2022 from 20.3% a year ago. Short-term debt. About 97% of the short-term debt is in the form of trade credits to finance imports, and hence the rise in short-term debt is stability friendly. Composition. Major part of India's external debt is denominated in US dollars, that is 55.5%, followed by Indian rupee, which is in 30.2%. Sovereign external debt, it amounted to $124.5 billion, decreasing by 5.7% over the level a year ago. That'll be it for this chapter.